Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on from that topic, and we're gonna jump to Cody. Which topic, dude?
God damn it. So the topic I chose was deck building and deck construction. And
Okay.
the thought process and ideas that I put towards deck construction when I make any kind of deck.
All right.
So with your experience with deck construction, actually, do you?
I have only ever attempted to make one deck, and it was the first version of that Gohan deck that I ended up going 2-1 with at locals, but it was only because of the surprise factor. It wasn't because the deck was good. It's because people just randomly put themselves to 3, and I was just like, oh, you're dead. And so, like, at locals, people have, like, pseudo-learned how to fight against it. At least, like, this crew has. Like, I still randomly catch new people with it. They think they're safe. I have 3 life, and I'm like, you're not, though. But whenever I made that deck, the biggest thing that I said that I needed to have personally as a player was 4 negate cards. I have to have that in my deck.
Are you talking like the 4 negate attacks, or are you talking about the battering lasers?
Oh, I love that. I said 4 negate attacks, and I didn't care what color they were. That was back when I was bad. So I just ran 4 of the green.
Before you were traumatized?
Right before I was traumatized. I ran 4 of the green negate cards because I was running mono green. And I was just like, I need to not die. I care more about not dying on your kill turn than I do trying to kill you. I would rather backswing you as a player than do the initial swing and that be my game plan.
Now, do you think negate attacks are the best way to not die on a crack? On a crackback or a crack in?
It is certainly the easiest.
It's the most straightforward for anybody that's linear thinking.
Totally. The option to it's definitely the easiest. I guess that's the best way to put it. As I'm looking at my options and I'm seeing what you've played, what you have open in energy, and what you have in hand, I have to calculate what I have, what are aggressive cards in my hand, because I don't just play negate attacks as my actions. I also play 3, now in my current Gohan list, 3 of the fully awakened, fully enraged Gohan, the one that discard a card, destroy a card.
Oh, yeah.
And that card is also a negate attack card, but it's discard 1, negate attack, destroy a creature.
Yeah.
So like that card says, don't die, don't deal with the problem later.
So you're 2 for 1ing yourself at the plus of killing the thing.
Yeah, and not dying, which totally happens in this game. Of I have the negate in hand, I don't think they're gonna kill me. Oh, they killed me. Like that just happens. So I would totally consider in your plus minus not dying. Whenever you're at desperation, when you're at 4, 3, 2, that's totally a +1 of not die on this attack.
Yeah.
How about you? What do you have to have in your deck in order to make it work?
Right now, Jocko's.
Jocko?
Jocko.
Jocko's the 0/5 that bounces one of defense?
One of their combos, yes.
Bounces a combo while giving 5k.
Yeah.
Right now I'm playing 2. I think you can go higher. I think it'll be okay.
I think in my list I have 3, but once again, I'm super new and I didn't build this. I'm just piloting it. I'm playing 3. Yeah. That card that's very strong. You brought the topic. What comes to mind when you sit down and you're gonna build a deck? I have to have X, Y, and Z. What is X, Y, and Z?
So the first thing that I try to go for is packages. So packages in this term is what do I want to build around? So for instance, let's go with Cell. So like Cell. Okay. So when you want to play Perfect Force Cell, which is the 7 mana card.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the creature, not the leader.
Yeah, we're not looking at. In this case, you have to play androids.
Sure.
Because
either Cell or Andros.
Yeah, so you have to play an android, so you get one of the 2 leader options. But I normally just look at the card first. So I find a card, and I'm just like, I want to play that card. And then there's packages into those cards. So the Cell package is you play the 3 mana Cell, the 5 mana Cell, the 7 mana Cell, then you also have to play androids inside there.
Okay.
So you're definitely playing like the 18 android, and you're definitely playing the 17 android. So you can go 3, 5, 7, and make your opponent discard to 3 as fast as possible.
I hate that fucking deck.
So, when you're looking at that, you got to look at, so the starting build for most times is 12 plus 8, 20 cards. So you have 20 cards to start off with, and then you just have 30 cards that you can just fill in normally.
Filler. Yeah.
Whatever the hell you want. And that's where a lot of testing and numbers come into play.
Okay, so whenever you're building your deck, you don't look at what are power cards. You look at how does my deck work?
Yes.
What is the engine of the deck?
You definitely.
And then it goes.
Yeah.
So, like, another example for an engine would be the
Broly.
Buhan deck. Or Broly, sure. And so the Broly cards would be 4 of the 1 drop, 3 of the 5 drop, right?
3 or 2, yeah.
And then 3 of the 6 drop.
And you could potentially also play the promo. There's a promo Brawly that basically is it's a 4-mana Brawly, but you can evolve for 1 green, and when you evolve a Brawly, it just kills something.
That's neat.
It's a little weaker than, the promo Gohan, for obvious reasons.
Yeah. But that's really cool to think about, because whenever I initially made that Gohan deck, or even I looked at the Vegito Babidi Gotenks token Gangbang that I first played, I could totally see how when the decks were being crafted, especially the Vegito one that I didn't make, there's definitely a package than the rest of it.
Yeah.
Do you think the game is going to keep these package fillers as their decks?
No, so basically where I think the game's evolving now, so packages will still exist, but I think packages are going to become smaller and smaller and smaller as the game comes on.
Okay.
And then eventually you're going to, what I think can happen is eventually you're going to reach like Cookie Cutter in Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not sure if you remember that deck, but it was just like, put all the best cards and put it in a 40-card deck, and we're good to go.
Totally.
It was like, it was basically like almost what GOAT format was, but that was, I think, after Metamorphosis got banned.
Sure.
So Cookie Cutter, I think, was the deck where you're still playing like Breaker, Spear Dragon, stupid stuff like that.
The best card
Literally,
text and numbers on the game.
Yeah, the best card
Stats.
text. And it had no synergy whatsoever.
Yeah.
I think like the only synergy was like Blackluster or Chaos Sorcerer, I think, at the time.
Sure.
That was it.
Yeah.
But beyond that, no cards did anything to interact with each other. They were just literally the best cards. Which I feel like DBS might be going towards that way, but the best cards will be the best packages, but be done very small.
So, like, as opposed to the Android package, which you said was 20 cards.
20 cards.
It's going to be closer to 7 to 10?
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Sure. Okay.
So you're going to be looking at a package that's more like, that's reaching around that like 5 to 6 cards normally. So like a good one is Yours, which is the Inherited Will Son Goku, I think is what it is. That goes into the Gohan. So that's a 5-card package that you're playing, which is 3 of the 6 drop and 2 of the 7 drop.
Yeah.
Another one is Sacred Guard, Whis Sacred Guard, which is, I was playing 3 Bulma, 4 Whis Sacred Guard. So that's a 7-card package. That's about like where I think it's trying to go, is make those 7-card packages and not make those 20-card packages.
Sure. Do you agree with Cody's idea of where the game is going?
I do. I am worried about, because some packages have, whether they're them being small, like the We Sacred Guard Bowman package, is the color restraints. Like the Broly package.
Yeah.
It starts off fairly small, 1 green, but Broly is 4. Cost 6, 4 green.
Always 4 green, even to
Always
evolve
4.
it.
So as long as later cards don't have heavy colors specifics, I think that's possible.
Well, wouldn't it just let that color just be stronger then? If this package is crazy, and so it rewards you for playing more of this color, wouldn't that be just a design aspect then?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's probably where they went with Brawly, is you have to play green when like blue or yellow was clearly the like far superior color.
Yeah.
Beforehand, obviously. So you had to play very green heavy, probably like
Almost
60,
mono.
like almost like you're getting to the point where it's almost mono.
Broly was the first Gohan deck that I made. I made Broly Gohan. That fucking sucked.
So when you're going with very heavy colors, restraints. You have to make a lot of. There's a lot of decision making, in terms of what you're putting in there. To the point where we wanted to play when we were making Broly Frieza. We got to the point where we wanted to play Krillin's because we were playing Kale's. Krillin's a 1 mana 5k blocker.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because Krillin, A, is a blocker, so it's like that extra negate if you ever need it. Also, it's a sacrifice lamb to Kale when you want to play Kale.
Yeah. Because
having a resolved Kale is really good. And also, for the most part, it was normally just energy, which just allowed us to have more green energy. But
makes sense.
When you go into deck building, it has those 3 reasons, and not just a niche reason with, it's also energy.
Yes.
As I say time and time again, which obviously nobody would know this, every card at its worst is always energy, but you want it to have more versatility options to it. So you don't want to play a card like, the best example is the Secret Rare Vegito, alright? The Secret Rare Vegito, you play one of in the deck.
Vegito, here to save the day?
No. The 10
the game's over.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that one is, I think, a really bad card. And the reasons that get brought up to me is like, sometimes you can just, sometimes you can just play it. And I was just like, at the worst, it's just energy. And I was just like, but you don't want that in your deck, because the niche situation that has to exist is you have to have a Vegeta and a Goku, and then you have to have 5 red available. So you're only playing it in Vegito. You're never casting that thing for 10. If you cast that thing for 10,
the game should be over.
The game should 100% be over. Either you win the game or you already lost the game at that rate.
Yeah.
Also super susceptible to Cold Bloodlust and to Crusher Ball.
Yeah.
Another reason why the card's not so great.
We can always talk about that as a topic.
Being like that super niche situation, you'll probably see it 1 in maybe 20, 25 games.
Okay.
Never, do you normally, because of how much removal exists and how many people know about that card, if you see a Vegeta and you see a Goku and you see someone trying to, spot up the 5 red mana, you're just like, yeah, one of those is not living.
Yeah.
But, there'll be, certain times where they can just, on 6 mana still just play, a Goku and then, bam, throw it down if they keep a Vegeta. But if you're a smart player, you kill the higher cost thing, because they don't have multiple copies of those.
Yeah.
Those are just, super obvious things, but yeah, Vegeta, that card...
So, you're saying in the things that you want to look for whenever you build the deck?
Versatility over niche.
Okay. Yeah. I mean that makes sense with as wide as things you can. So at that point, you brought it up just now with, or you brought it up and then I made a slight remark with you about Cold Bloodlust and Crusher Ball. Those aren't actually very versatile cards when you look at their card text, but then when you use them, they stop everything in the game, including your opponent having fun.
Yep.
They are the fun killers, and I worked really hard to get this 7-drop Gohan to work, and it didn't. Or you crush your ball my dad sideways, and so I have to die on your turn.
But you, having that kind of permission in the game is completely fine. It's just, I think, making it, force of will is not good in the game.
We'll talk about that in a later topic. Yeah. Is there anything you want to add to things you look at whenever you deck build? Things you want to tell the good people?
No, not really. Cody's who I generally play test with.
Cody's very passionate about this game. He's got the passion.
So I actually completely agree on the package thing.
Don't get a whole lot of debacle out of us.
Well, okay, so I guess the last thing that I'm gonna do, whenever I have made this Gohan deck, and if I'm actually gonna do this podcast, and I have to learn how to play the game or whatever, I'll probably try and venture out, and I'll probably just try and make a bunch of meme decks, just to build and get experience and.
I got a meme deck you could play.
Go X3 at locals,
We got a meme deck.
I got a meme deck under the belt that I need played.
Okay, I guess. The point is, whenever I made my second deck, I made it with mono green. I took out Broly, and I threw in the best card text on cards, and then realized I couldn't kill anybody, and I couldn't live because I had too many 10Ks in my deck. 10K combos. Tap 1 10K.
Very, very
A lot of
huge.
people have that issue.
Huge whenever you're building. Eventually I want to figure out the science behind you should have X amount of 10Ks and no more. You should have X amount of no combos and no more. You should have the rest of those be 5s, and that's your ratio, and you figure out card text otherwise.
So that is bad reasoning. Alright, here's why it's bad reasoning.
Tell me.
If you pigeonhole yourself
Mm-hmm.
into thinking that way,
Sure.
you start making incorrect deck decisions where you're playing filler cards that you don't need to be playing. So a good example is Mecha Frieza. So Mecha Frieza,
Of course it is.
well, this is one of the
Of course
cards.
it is.
This is one
Of course it is!
This is one of the cards that makes it like okay to play more 1K combos. So Mecha Frieza gets to play Sensu Bean for
Okay,
free.
now hold on. Mecha Frieza gets to play Sensu Bean for free.
Yeah.
So Sensu Bean, you draw a card to untap 2 things.
Yeah.
So that's not
Well, you don't draw
Then-
a card, you take a life, there's a difference.
you.
I can talk
I
to you, I can talk to you about card
I
presses
put
all day
a
with
card
this.
into my hand to not die with. The life didn't matter. Life doesn't matter until it gets to 2. You said so. But that's not a very fair example to fight to debate me on this with, because no other character in the game gets to do that.
But every if you're playing blue, you could play Sensu Bean. You could still
Sure.
use 1 to untap 2, and then you have more room for 1K combos to be more relevant. And
Okay,
you can
sure.
still hold a counter up. So, like, to find that ratio, it depends on the deck you're playing for sure. But I
Mhm.
mean, like decks like Starter Deck Goku gets to untap roughly 2 mana when they awaken
Sure.
every single turn.
Sure.
So 1K combos you could see more of as a defensive option.
Okay.
Mecha Frieza is it's the best example for this, where it exists like more commonly and where you'd see it more commonly, is that the card Sensu Bean allows you to untap 2 to play 2 more cards out of your hand to live, which really matters when your opponent's trying to push for game.
I don't disagree with you. What I'm saying is, if you're not Mecha Frieza, then the option of Sensu Bean to untap 1, to 5K untap 1, is basically what it does. To then tap to drop the 2 doesn't mean that I should probably run more 10Ks.
There's a ratio. Well, there is a ratio in
Look
there,
at it
but it,
as the package as well. Like when you're choosing the Broly package, or just like any kind of
Right.
package, or any kind of package.
Yeah.
When I look at the Broly package, I'm looking at the color specifics and just how much 1Ks. That's 7 1Ks right off the bat, and then depending on what other colors I'm splashing and what my leader is, you'll kind of see what you have for
Totally.
10Ks.
I like that reasoning a lot better than you're wrong and you're an idiot.
well, no, it's
Just play Mecha Frieza and Sensu Bean, draw a card, untap 2.
when you're doing deck building though, you should never pigeonhole yourself into certain thinking.
I don't disagree with that. What I disagree with is not having a ratioed starting spot of it should start here. Like, man, I don't know enough about this game to like give you a real example, but in a different card game that I play that has a blocking mechanic, I don't play more than 8 cards out of my 60 that doesn't have a block. If I've got 9 or more cards, I sit down and I say, this deck is not correct, something has to change. Unless there is some specific weird crazy thing where I can randomly, take a non-block card and make it a block card. That's cheating the game. That's because my character does something really specific, like draw life, untap 2. That's my character. You look at Bobbity, and you're not gonna be like, I should run a bunch of more 10Ks because I've got Sensu Bean in my deck. Bobby's gonna fucking hate that card.
But that's why you play like
Xeno
Xenobutton.
Button. So that one technically is another, not necessarily a leader
Mm-hmm.
specific kind of counter like the Frieza thing,
Sure.
but that one has its own, not niche, but its own counter to make it live.
Before we get too crazy off on this, all I'm saying is, when you're deck building, watch your combos.
Watch your combos, watch the packages you are using.
And that's why Kale's amazing. It's 'cause it's 0.5K.
That's why Kale's amazing.
That's why Kale's undercosted.
That's why Vegito saves the day.
It's also 0.5K.
It's also 0.5K. But yes.
Yeah.
Check your ratios.
Check your ratios.